So this is the last day of the Young Adults Exploring Buddhism course. And we've been so happy with everyone who's come here this year, and just recognizing your interest and your willingness to try just about everything that we present to you, and the enthusiasm that you have for learning. So it's just really great for the community to be witnessing this and part of this. So I'm going to start off with a joke, okay? This is a joke. In coming here, once you got here, you had to separate from this. And I don't know what kind of anxiety level that brought for some of you, but I have to tell you the sad truth here. It looks like you've been thriving while you're here. So you actually went through this temporary separation without, needing to have any kind of special treatment. The other sad news is that no one called the office asking how you are. I'm sorry. Nobody. So your dearest ones are out there doing just fine. They're thriving. You're here and you're thriving. And you were separated from this. Maybe it could be a divorce. I don't know. But I think it's something to appreciate that you're willing to do this, to separate from this tool, which is it's a necessary tool in a certain amount of time for each day, but to be, separated from it, I think that's something worth thinking about. And then, there's always this. So you got it in your hand, right? This is a great moment. Oh, I love the look on your faces. Okay, all right, here we go. We can put this on the website. And I'm busy. Oh, and I can really zoom in. And great, wonderful. I can even zoom in further. Oh, that's a wonderful expression, venerable children. And I've got this between you and me, and I'm so busy clicking away, and I can film it even. Wait a minute, let's just change gears here. I can film this, and we can put it on the website. Yeah, and I can zoom in even more. Oh, great. Yeah, there's someone waving. Thank you.
I don't want that for the website.
And the whole time that I'm doing this, there's this huge separation between you and me. It's right here. This separation is right here. I'm thinking about what I'm going to put on the website, what looks good. I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about that. I've got the great footage. And you're just out there being my object to film or photograph. I was at a restaurant years ago with my sister, and it was a huge family dinner of all generations, great-grandparents right down to little kids. This is no exaggeration. Everyone had a phone. It was on the table, right by their knife and their spoon, and everyone was constantly going like this, or every now and then would say, look at this. Oh, let me show you this. And that was the family get-together. Everyone was, or they'd be checking to see, oh, there's a text, wait. Oh, Jeremy is texting me. Wait, oh, really? There's more windows going in. Fantastic. But, we're just not engaging with each other. And so we're wondering why everyone now is talking to people like Russell Coates and Dharma teachers about how anxious everyone is because they're missing connection with people. And this is one of the things that is preventing that connection. So years ago when I had my first experience hearing the Dharma, it was 1996. It was the first time seeing a Western Buddhist nun. I'll be quite honest. I was in Seattle visiting a friend who's in this room who's now a nun. I was really upset that we weren't going out for a nice meal in Seattle. And so I spent the first few minutes of that talk trying to get over the fact that we were not at a nice restaurant. But that soon evaporated because Venerable Children was talking about the kindness of others. And I was raised a Catholic. I was a good Catholic girl till the age of 22. And then I wasn't a good Catholic and I wasn't a good girl either. But I had heard about kindness before, and this was just presented in a way that was making my head split open. And it was just amazing. So this is a meditation, a topic. You've now met the two authors of this book. You can go back to this book again and again. And there's a chapter in here, it's only 3.5 pages long, on the kindness of others. I want to read to you the first paragraph, and then you can go back to this when you're on the plane today, or maybe when you're at Starbucks, I don't know. One of those things. And they start off, this is written by Venerable Children. In our everyday lives, we are often unaware of how much we depend on others just to stay alive. And as a result, we often take their kindness and efforts on our behalf for granted. When we pause and consider that we are all dependent on one another, we realize that everything we have, everything we know, everything we're able to do has come about due to the kindness of others. We are not the independent, pick yourself up by your bootstraps individuals that we sometimes pride ourselves in being. About 2 years after hearing that very first teaching, I was interested in Buddhism. I wouldn't have considered myself a Buddhist yet, but I just went for a regular medical checkup, just, the yearly thing. And within about the first few minutes of this checkup, I was whisked into another room to get a scan. And then within minutes, the attendant was saying to me, well, we're going to get the radiologist to talk to you. So right now, I'm just going crazy in my mind. And what tool do I have? I didn't have many Dharma tools. My repertoire is very limited. But I remembered this talk, the kindness of others. And so as I'm sitting there on the bed, trying to think what in the heck is going on with my body at age 39, I started thinking about what Venerable said, and I was paying attention to the people in the room and how kind they were. They were just checking on me and saying, don't worry, dear, this is all going to be just fine. And then I noticed that a janitor came in the room, and she was looking quite tired. But I thought, wow, this person, she's doing her job. She's coming into this room. She's cleaning the garbage. She's, cleaning the tables. How kind of her to show up and do her job that day. And this was getting my self-centered thought that was just spinning like crazy off of me and noticing them. And it was really a relief. And then the radiologist came in, and she was amazing, just amazing. And she was just saying, we found something that looks a little bit suspicious, and we need to take a close look at this. And don't worry, dear, we're going to do this in a timely way. And we're going to do this as soon as we can, like we're going to do this a week from now. And then I said, well, actually, you can't, because a week from now, I'm going to a retreat just south of Seattle. And she said, oh, what kind of retreat? And I said, well, it's a Buddhist retreat. She said, fabulous. When do you get on the plane? And I said, in 2 days. She said, fantastic. Get here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And so, it's just amazing how just using that little bit of a tool that I had really helped my anxiety and my fear. So now all of you are going to start traveling pretty soon. And some of you are going to have the great privilege of getting on our local shuttle. I love the shuttle. Pay attention to the driver of the shuttle. That person is going to drive you safely to the airport today. And they're so good, they will not leave Newport until they have you in that seat on the shuttle. And they call the Abbey if they don't have your phone number to find out where you are. So just take a look at how the driver interacts with the other people on the shuttle. Every time, the reason I love the shuttle is that I get to meet some of the people who live in this area, or they live close by, and I get to see how that driver connects with every single passenger. It's really quite a lesson. So then you get to the airport, and then you're going to have to go through the security thing. How much fun do you think that job is, doing security at an airport? And remember, none of those people live at the airport. They drive how long to get to the airport? It's out of town. I bet it's not great pay. And then you're looking at your phone, You're looking at your phone, finding out how many minutes you have between here and getting onto the plane. Take a look at the people who are doing the screening. They have families. They're doing their best to move you along in the line. And maybe instead of getting a little bit wound up about the fact that you might miss your flight, maybe put your attention on those people doing that job which I'm sure is not a good paying job. And they're doing it just to take care of their families. So every time I'm in that situation, when I get my mind off of myself, it is really a learning opportunity, looking at people who are kind. And you may say, they're doing their job, they're not being kind. Well, if they didn't show up to do their job that day, you'd be further back in the line. And you'd be even more stressed if they weren't there. And then I absolutely love being seated close to babies, because this is a great opportunity. I don't like it so much in flights that are longer than 6 hours, but, still, take a look at the babies around you on the plane, and take a look at what the parents do, or maybe a relative, to keep that baby happy and content. It is non-stop. So if you have any kind of, feelings about how you were raised, maybe it wasn't great, but somebody took care of you, and this is a very long teaching that I'm not going to go into because we've got a whole bunch of things to do this afternoon, and you're already thinking, when's she going to stop? But just take that opportunity to look at the non-stop care. I was on a flight from Seattle to New Delhi one time, and the people on the plane, it was this mom and dad and grandma, and the baby was sick, and that baby cried most of the flight. And between the three of them, they were constantly carrying that baby in the aisles, singing to it, talking to it. Every now and then, the flight attendant would come and take over so that the three of them could get some rest. And while I'm talking about flight attendants, hey, maybe it's a job you used to think you wanted to do. Well, maybe a few decades ago, it was a very glamorous job. You got fancy suits and you gave people meals on china with silverware. Now, it's crowd control and lifting bags over your head every day, multiple times, right? Bags that should not be in that plane. They're too big. They don't fit any of those spaces. And that's what you do? On this same flight, it was an Emirates flight, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, all the flight attendants looked fabulous. They were at least 18, and the oldest one was probably 28. Makeup, hair, suits, very poised, very polite. I was sitting at the very back where they get together and talk, and they were asking each other how old they were. I think in that flight, the oldest one was about 26, and they're asking each other, what physiotherapist do you go to? What chiropractor do you go to? I'm having this ongoing pain in my shoulders. I don't know how long I can do this job. So take a look at what the flight attendants do on your flight. Okay, so they tell you there's no time to give you peanuts and a drink of water. Well, just take a look. They're every day doing this job that is really, I don't know how they do it. So some of you are driving. And this time of year, there's always construction. So there's your opportunity right there to be stopped and look at these people working in blistering heat often out on the road with these fumes of the asphalt. And I don't see a lot of these people wearing masks. And they're doing this job so that we can get from A to B. You got to the Abbey because of these countless numbers of people. So there's a lot of opportunities to use this topic of meditating and just thinking about the kindness of others. And what will happen is it will absolutely generate a feeling of gratitude in your heart. And then it will inspire you to want to pay back this kindness. And then as some homework for you to do when you get home, then start working on the people like your parents and your teachers. And that'll take you a long way. And when you start feeling any kind of negative emotion, try it out. As His Holiness tells us all the time, Venerable Children says the same thing, all of our teachers, don't take it on their word. Try it out. See if it works. It's a wonderful experiment to do. Okay, I've gone way longer than I thought I would. And now you're looking at your phone, if you had one. And maybe if I take her picture, she'll stop talking. Kindness of others, it's a wonderful tool.